Hello, devotees. Good evening. We're going to have Bhagavad Gita class this evening. Thank you very much. I want to make sure we're live streamed and messaging the Prabhuji. We can start with Mangalachana. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Chakshaya Tattu Gurumritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swami Itanamane Prachara Puradaksham Cha Bhaktachara Pravinata Prartata Pikaranyam Yase Sarviste Namaha. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prachasta Desatharane Panchatattva Mahamantra Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vanchakalpataru Brasisha Krupasundarbhayeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Devotees, we could chant the Chatursloki Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, verses from 10.8 to 10.11, 10th canto, 10th chapter, 8th to 11th verse. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam prapatyate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows this engage in my devotion service and worship me with all their hearts. 10.9 Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantasya Parasparam Katayantasya Mam Nityam Dushanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive greatest satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another. Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Yatami buddhiyogantam yenamam upyantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Tesam evanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nasayami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhasvara. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamps of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. And we will recite Srimad Bhagavatam, two slokas, Kunti Maharani's prayers to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Krishna, this is Srimad Bhagavatam 1:821. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, the other cowherd men of Vrindavana, and the enlivener of the cows and senses. 1.822. Namo Pankajanaಭಾಯ, Namo Pankajamaline, Namo Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangriye. My respectful obeisance unto, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as lotus, whose feet are engraved with lotuses. And Brahma Samhita, verse 5.1, this establishes the Bhagavan Sri Krishna's supreme personality. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadinadi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, he's supreme. He's the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal bliss, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Very nice. With that, we're going to start Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter. Before we go into 16th chapter, we'll do the overview of the Bhagavad Gita and the connection between these chapters. So, in Bhagavad Gita is a book of knowledge for both mind, body, and soul, and it encompasses 5 main topics: Isvara, the Supreme Lord; Jiva, the living entity; Prakriti, material nature; Kala, the time; Karma, the action and reaction. Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections, chapters 1 to 6, 6 chapters, attaining bhakti through Karma Yoga. It talks about Karma Yoga and how one attains bhakti through Karma Yoga. The middle section is chapters 7 to 12, 6 chapters, and this is purely on Bhakti Yoga. Chapter 13 to 18, chapter 6 chapters about obtaining bhakti through jnana. This is the third section we are in. And the 13th, there is a connection between each chapters here. So in the 13th chapter, Arjuna poses the 6 questions about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetram, Kshetragnam, Jnanam, Jnayam. You want to know about these and connection between these. And you want to know this because you want to see the world through Krishna's lenses. This is called Sankhya Yoga. And this Sankhya Yoga is very timely and timeless. In fact, the entire Bhagavad Gita knowledge. And the science is Sankhya Yoga is an opposed to science. Science may make us comfortable, brings comforts like technologies, and brings more raga or bondage. Whereas Sankhya gives the knowledge of let go of the material nature, renouncement and vairagya happens. And you have this knowledge, Bhagavan Sri Krishna discusses to Arjuna to have the attitude of looking at this world, how it changes through this knowledge. and how that you see Bhagavan Sri Krishna's mercy all over the place when you have this knowledge. So in nutshell, Sankhya Yoga, it talks about Pancha Mahabhutas, five elements, and the sense acquired senses, working senses, and sense objects, as we described here. And there are four subtle things: mind, intelligence, false ego, unmanifested mode of material natures. Three mode of material nature. They all constitute 24. Kshetrajna is his individual soul, and 25th, 26th, super soul. And this is the bedrock philosophy of Sankhya, including the three modes of material nature. And 8 to 12 in 13th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about what are the 20 processes of knowledge. Anything outside of these 20 processes are not knowledge. There is ignorance, Bhagavan Sri Krishna mentions there. So out of these 20, the 16th is constant unalloyed devotion to me, which is Bhagavan Sri Krishna is the key. How that can happen? Through sixth, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. That's exactly what in the fourth chapter also, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks to Arjuna about approaching bona fide spiritual master. So this knowledge comes in the disciplinic succession. And he has to discuss this reveal this knowledge through Bhagavad Gita because the disciplinic succession was broken and prior his knowledge transmission to his son God 60 million years ago approximately. So now 1322 verse is the key. Purusha prakrististo hi bhunte prakriti janpana karana guna sandasya sadasad yoni janmasu. Here, Prabhupada translates the living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying three modes of nature. This is due to the association with that material nature. Thus he meets with the good and evil among various species. And then you would know what is the connection here to this today's verse very nicely. So Prabhupada talks about because of this bondage to the material nature, the living entities transmigrate from one body to another body, as discussed in the second chapter, just like one changes the dress. So this transmigration is there. How do you cut this transmigration? By changing this conception, that is, to elevating oneself to Krishna consciousness or transcendental position. That means you dissociate with the modes of material nature. And that change can be affected primarily by hearing from authoritative source. Just like Arjuna here heard through Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself, and Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure devotee, founder Acharya of International Krishna Consciousness, has translated this as Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks to Arjuna and how Arjuna received Bhagavan Krishna's lens and knowledge to look at the world and serve him. And due to the desire to loyal toward the material nature, the soul changes from the body to body, from demigods to worm, bug, and etc. 8.4 million lives. How did this happen? These three modes. Another example, metaphor here is soul and the consciousness is bound to these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Sattva is more of goodness, rajas is more of passion, tamas more of ignorance. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Deva talks to his mother Devahuti for her questions 3:25:15. The stage in which consciousness of living entity is attracted by the three modes of material nature is called conditional life. Just like prior figure, we talked about how consciousness binds the soul to the three modes of material nature. But when the same consciousness is attached to the Supreme Person of Godhead, one is situated in the consciousness of liberation. So that is the key here, liberation. And then the seventh canto, first chapter, eighth verse, here Narada Muni talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the qualities. I think in this chapter we also have Prahlad Maharaj also comes in. Here he says, when the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the modes of passion is predominant, the demons flourish. And when the ignorance is prominent, the akshasas, rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Person of God is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of sattva guna, raja guna, and tamaguna. Beautifully, Prabhupada discusses in this purport, the Supreme Person of Godhead is not partial to anyone. The conditional soul is under the influence of various modes of material nature. And behind the material nature is the Supreme Person of Godhead. But one's victory and loss under the influence of sattva, rajo, tamo gunas are reactions of those modes, not of Supreme Personality, Lord's partiality. That means based upon our individual choice, either we elevate to sattva guna or we degrade to rajo and tamo guna. Based on that, we get the reactions. And 1426 is the pinnacle verse in the 14th chapter. Mam cheyo vibhicharena bhakti yogena sevate chagunam samatityarthan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Here, one who can engage in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma. And the 15th chapter, verses 1 to 5, discuss about the freeing oneself from the weakness of heart, that is, binding to these three material modes we discussed in 14th chapter. And the 6 to 12 is Purushottama Yoga, all opulence of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. You're here. So here, the desire to lord it over gives up the Avyapicharani Bhakti, that is unalloyed devotional service we discussed about. So this increases the attachment to the matter when the devotional service goes down. And how to overcome this weakness of heart, how to overcome this bondage of consciousness to three modes of material nature, in other words, we talked about, is this Avyabhicharani Bhakti. How is that? Prabhupada gave these minimum 16 rounds of minimum chanting of Maha Mantra daily with these Tulasi beads. Like it has 16 or 108 beads, Tulasi beads, and it is head bead. From there you start and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's one count. And then Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Second one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So like that you chant at least minimum 16 rounds. One round is 108 beats. So if you're new to this concept or this information, you start with one round. When do you start chant? Chanting is the two important aspects of chanting. One is in Brahma Muhurta, there is a sacred time. Brahma Muhurta is an hour and a half before sunrise, chanting. And then sacred space, where in the altar at your home or in the temple or a sacred place. Chant 16 rounds. And then four regulated principles. That is, uh, number one, Prabhupada talks about no meat eating. Number two, no gambling. Number three, no substance use of whatsoever that alters the mind, and uh, no illicit sex or sex within the marriage. These are the four regulated principles. Four regulated principles puts us into the human platform, and from there, there's a neutral platform. From there, elevate ourselves to mode of goodness by chanting, and then mode of Suddha Sattva by improving our bhakti, devotional service. There's a more important aspect in that devotional service is uh, is association of devotees, sadhu sangha. This makes one detachment to the position of matter, but through the knowledge, through the association of devotees, just like we read Chatusloki Bhagavatam, it's Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada talks about, Krishna talks about that through the associates, devotees, usually they chant glories, uh, glorify my names among devotees. That's exactly what happens in the Bhagavad Gita class, and also Srimad Bhagavatam class we have daily, 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning. And then 15.1, let's read the translation, Prabhupada, Bhagavan Sri Krishna's verse translation. Supreme Personal of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches downwards, whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is known as knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The figs are the objects of senses. This tree also has roots downwards, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of the human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in the world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, and where its foundation is. But with the determination, one must cut down the strongly rooted tree with the weapon of attachment. Therefore, one must seek that place from which, having gone, no one ever returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Person of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything extends since the time of memorial. Very nice. So, and then the important verse is 15, chapter 15, 50, 15, 15. That is, Sarvasya Chaham Hrudasanya Visto, Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, Vedasya Sarvai Aham Eva Vedyo, Vedanta Krit Vidavid Eva Chaham. Prabhupada translates, I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of Vedas. Very nice verse. And let's come to the 16th chapter. 16th chapter, here, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about the divine and demonic mentality. So we also heard previously the references Srimad Bhagavatam 7.1.8, based on our consciousness binding to the each respective modes of nature, either goodness, passion, or ignorance, we develop as a divine and demonic qualities. That's exactly what Bhagavan Sri Krishna elaborating here in this chapter. The Supreme Personality of the Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding. Here, let me say one word about austerity. So, actually, following four regulated principles, we talked about no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no substance use whatsoever kind. This is austerities. You know, if you think about it, the entire America world is inundated with these breaking these four regulated principles. So once you come into with this austerity daily, you come to the human platform, according to Prabhupada. So this is very important austerities Prabhupada gave through uh, for the devotees. And then chanting elevates that to even more pure goodness. And compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy and from passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belongs to godly men endued with divine nature. So again, the godly men comes from with people who are elevated themselves to more of goodness and more of even pure goodness. Here, reference here, Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, 30th chapter, 8th verse. This is Bhagavan Sri Krishna talking to the Prachetas. All the brothers of Prachetas who uh, uh, did a devotional service for 10,000 years. At the end, Supreme Person of Godhead appears to them and said, "My dear sons of King, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationship among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, that is devotional service. And I am so pleased with your mutual friendship. And that I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction from me." So if we develop the divine qualities, just like Bhagavan Sri Krishna explained in the three verses, and obviously we develop this friendly relationship among us. And that actually pleases the Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That's the key. Developing a friendly relationship is through these divine qualities. So pride, this opposite of divine qualities, next chapter dedicated to this by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, because this is what we see in the material world nowadays: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. These qualities belongs to those of demonic nature or Samapartha. So here, your consciousness is bind to ignorance or passion. So 16.5, the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born of divine qualities. 16.6, O son of Partha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine, another called demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic qualities. Here from 16.7 onwards, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about the demonic qualities. Those who are demonic do not know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is bound to them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and no cause other than the lust. And 69. Following such conclusions, the demonic, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. And 16.10, taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige. The demonic, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclear work, attracted by the impermanent. And verses 11 to 12. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of the life, their anxiety is miserable, bound by a network of bound hundreds of thousands of desires, absorbed in lust and anger. They secure money by illegal means for the sense gratification. 16:13 to 15. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I will be killed, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. That's what the demons think. So, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says. And verses 13 to 15, I am the enjoyer, I am perfect, powerful and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by the aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Wow. 16. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to the sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. So sense enjoyment, attachment leads to a hellish life. What Sri Krishna says, and 17. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by the wealth, false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in the name only, without following any rules or regulations. Wow. And 18, bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons became envious of the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the religion. That is the key in demonic quality. You blaspheme against religious, because religious principles are come from the God Himself. In 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, I think in chapter 2nd, 18th verse, it talks about that. So if you blaspheme the religious principles, you are blaspheming Supreme Person of Godhead. That is the demonic nature. In 16:19, those who are envious are mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Wow. See, demonic tendencies, attachment to mode of ignorance, passion leads to these. So now today's 20th verse, let's discuss about that. Asurim yonim apana Buddha janmani janmani ma aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yanti adamam gatim. Asuram, demonic, yonim, species, apanna, gaining, muda, the foolish, janmani, janmani, in the birth after birth, mam, me, aprapaya, without achieving eva, certainty, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, tataha, thereafter, yanti, go, uh, adam, condemned, gatim, destination. The divine and demonic. Attaining repeated birth and among us the species of demonic life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. That is the punishment for demons or demonic mentality. Prabhupada explains in the purport, it is known that God is all merciful. But here we find that God is never merciful to the demonic. It is clearly stated that demonic people, life after life, are put into the wombs of similar demons, are not achieving the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And they go down and down, so that at last they achieve the bodies like the cats and dogs and hogs. Wow. It is clearly stated that such demons have practically no chance of receiving the mercy of God at any stage of later life. In the Vedas also it is stated that such persons gradually sink to become dogs and hogs. It may be then argued in this connection that God should not be advertised as all merciful if he is not merciful to such demons, right? That's a good question, Prabhupada. So, in the answer to this question, Prabhupada says, the Vedanta Sutra, we find that the Supreme Lord has no hatred for anyone. The placing of the asuras, the demons, in the lowest status of life is simply another feature of his mercy. So there is a mercy principle acting here, so that the demons go down the hell. Sometimes these asuras are killed by the Supreme Lord, but this killing is also good for them. For in the Vedic literature, we find that anyone who is killed by the Supreme Lord becomes liberated. So there are instances in the history of many asuras like Ravana, Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu, to whom the Lord appeared in various incarnations just to kill them. Therefore, God's mercy is shown to the asuras if they are fortunate enough to be killed by him. So that is the key. So even the asuras, the chastisement of asuras uh, by the Supreme Person of Godhead is mercy to them, because the way that happened, they became asuras, demons, because of the free will, actually, right? So Bhagavan Sri Krishna do not interfere with person's free will. So naturally, to the free will, if you follow four regulated principles, Prabhupada promulgated, or wanted all the devotees to follow. What is that? This austerity through the free will and free choice. What will happen is you will slowly detach your attachment to modes of three material nature, and slowly rise to the pure goodness through the daily devotional activities like 16 rounds of chanting of Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra we discussed about, where during the Brahma Murta there is sacred time and the sacred place in the altar. So that actually elevates oneself to divine nature. That is to the choice. So if we don't follow that, and obviously we would go down to attachment to more passion, ignorance, and the demonic qualities arises. Naturally, that is by our choice, but through our choice, uh, the the taking transmigration to other species is going to the degradation pathway to lower species, an abominable way. So obviously that is actually Prabhupada here says there is actually mercy of Lord. So that eventually through the mercy of devotees, you would eventually come to Krishna consciousness. Bahunam Jamanam Ante Nyanam Am Prapatite. Prabhupada Sri Krishna talks about out of thousand millions of species, only one wanted to know about God, this human life. Out of those people who wanted to know one, millions of thousands of millions of them, is one who really wanted to know the Supreme Person of Godhead. And, and even one among them who want to know really take mercy by mercy of a devotee introduced to the Bhagavan Sri Krishna's concept of bhakti yoga is even very, very rare. Even after the introduction, somebody takes more diligent steps uh, and chanting and following four regulated principles, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, uh, Bhakti Yoga principles, how Srila Prabhupada uh, instituted, you follow those, obviously you will rise slowly. Even you will be even the minority then. And then even in that minority, somebody take the uh, initiation by approaching bona fide spiritual master is even very rare. Even out of taking initiation, following these regulated principles daily is very, very rare. It gives you the platform to go in the direction of Vaishnava qualities, right? That is divine qualities. So this is out of free will. And our Sri Krishna's, by mercy, uh, would eventually you would, after many, many births, you will come back to devotional side. Here in 1621, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about there are three gates leading to the hell: lust, anger, and greed. Lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So the lust, anger, and greed leads to our bondage. Consciousness is bondage to the modes of material nature, which is three modes, which mostly the modes of passion, ignorance, right? So 1622, the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performed the acts conducive to self-realization, thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So how did that happen? By process of Bhakti Yoga. 1622. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization. That is the chanting 16 rounds in sacred time and sacred space, and following four related principles, and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. 1624. Uh, he who discards the scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains either perfection nor happiness nor supreme destination. So that is the end. So in essence, the 16th chapter is a powerful chapter. Most of the sections of 16th chapter divide. Bhagavan Sri Krishna described about demonic qualities. It is just for us to educate so that we see the lens of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's and and then slowly get ourselves to serve him by following his teachings through Guru Parampara by way of approaching a spiritual master. And also in one of the in one Srimad Bhagavatam verse, beautifully, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, actually, if you follow the Guru's Agnya, that's what it pleases him. 10, Srimad Bhagavatam 10, the canto 80th chapter, 34th verse, Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about I, the soul of all beings, the super soul of all beings. I am not as satisfied by ritual worship, like going to temple, worshiping, right, for puja, pratishta, all of those ritual worship, or Brahmanical initiation, even the initiation of Brahmanas, penance, or self-discipline, right, following the pujas, fasting, all of those. They are not as satisfied as I am by faithful service rendered to one's spiritual master. This is so powerful statement. So approaching bona fide spiritual master and rendering service to spiritual master and thereby associating with devotees and purifying our consciousness is the key. So with that, I'm going to close the class for today. It's so nice to have a discussion about 16th chapter, and it's all anything we talk about Bhagavan Sri Krishna is all pleasing, all auspicious. There's no time of rhyme of rhythm that we can bring in about Bhagavan Sri Krishna's discussion. So this is called Krishna Central Life. The Gramya Katha is Katha of everything that goes around the social media, news, network. This is Gramya Katha. Whereas Bhagavan Krishna Katha is what we're discussing. To the extent we improve our Krishna consciousness, Katha, to that extent, what happens is we purify our consciousness. Thereby, purification will give us the attachment to the qualities, the attachment to the Bhagavan Sri Krishna's, and gradually, detachment to the material bondage. That is very important. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about how Krishna Katha leads to liberation, freeing of soul, alignment with the soul, and natural alignment is with the constitutional position with Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Whereas Gramya Katha, which is the opposite of Krishna Katha, will degrade us to all this 16 quality, all this 16 chapter, most of the 16 chapter Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about demonic qualities. That is, our consciousness with the Gramya Katha, our consciousness is bind to either more of passion or more ignorance, thereby slowly degrading our soul to the abominable life, birth after birth. And it is very, human life, Prabhupada says, is very important, rare opportunity that one can get. In even that, to we have about 8 billion people on this planet. Even among them, one run into Vaishnava, Krishna devotee, is very rare. And even after running into Krishna devotees through the mercy, Srila Prabhupada, because of is through the institution of International Krishna Consciousness, we have distributing all these books like Krishna books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all the literatures. Thereby, people can access what is the real knowledge, what is the ignorance. Just like in the 14th chapter, 13th chapter, we are about 20 pras of knowledge. That will come from reading Prabhupada books. This is very important. So one running into that and reading Prabhupada books, empowering and associating is very rare. And if that is the case, we don't want to trash the rare opportunity. We don't want to take it easy. We want to get serious. We want to have a lowlium. Prabhupada talks about what is the one quality that bring you to Krishna is lowlium, that greedy, spiritual greediness. That is, that will give us sincere interest. Prabhupada translates our sincere interest in knowing Bhagavan Sri Krishna and having a Krishna-centered life will really propel us on a daily basis and taking steps towards Bhakti Yoga process. And there is 9 different processes of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So this is 3 important things. 2 important things, Shravanam and Kirtanam, about Vishnu. This is again 7th canto. Prahlad Maharaj talks to his friends, 5-year-old boy. Shravanam Kirtanam is very important. So Shravanam is listening, that you're all listening. Kirtanam is somebody talking about Bhagavan Sri Krishna's all the qualities about him is Kirtanam. So in the same way, chanting and listening is also a very important process. The chanting and listening is the number one process that purifies our soul, purifies our consciousness, actually our the bondage of our soul with all the impurities of our consciousness, right? That's being purified. Cheto darpanam arjanam, bhav mahadada vajnaya vapanam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, Radha and Krishna's combined uh, incarnation in this Kali Yuga 500 years ago, who came as a devotee in Srimati Radharani. The number one devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna is Radharani. This mood of Radharani, and actually just like a high school, primary or elementary school teacher, sits with the student and teaches him how to write alphabets by picking the hand, picking the pen. The same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and took the mood of devotee, mood of Radharani, the devotee mood, and explained to us how the life of a devotee would be if you decide to be Krishna Bhakta. And through the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Chaitanya Adi Guru Nityananda, the incarnation of Balaram and Krishna in this age of Kali, actually paved the way through the Panchatattva, through the Krishna consciousness. There is the love of Krishna. And Prabhupada says, 500 years ago, this was started Krishna consciousness, spreading Krishna consciousness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, every town and village chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And in that distribution line of succession, Srila Prabhupada came as a battalion, took this Krishna consciousness to the all over the world and fulfilled Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wish of every town and village. Maha Mantra is being chanted and Krishna Katha is being narrated and Krishna Prasadam has been distributed. So that is the very important aspect of Krishna consciousness. And we also have, every Sunday, we have a noon special lecture in the ISKCON LA temple, all the temples all over the world, followed by nice prasadam. And also every evening we have 1 hour. Even tomorrow we'll have Bhagavad Gita class between 7 to 8 p.m. We are encouraged to come. And also in the morning, 7:30 to 8:30, we have Srimad Bhagavatam class. That's where you learn about more in detail about Krishna Bhaktas, the Krishna Katha, your next stage. So I would highly encourage you, take these association opportunities and slowly grow into Krishna consciousness. With that, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If there was any mistakes, please forgive me because I'm also growing in the bhakti process. And if there was anything that made sense to you, this is all because of Guru Paramparas, Srila Prabhupada's books, knowledge, and devotees association. Where nothing belongs to me. Nothing comes from me. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.